you were.
No one hung out where I was.
Well, it was Gainesville, Florida. I don't know if there was something in the water or what we were smoking in those days, but everybody kind of wound up being friends together.
Isn't Tom Petty from there?
Yeah, he was one of my guitar students. I taught him early on.
Wow.
You taught Tom Petty how to play guitar?
Yeah.
Does he thank you every day for that?
Well, I think he mentions it in his articles now, and that was so funny.
Every time he gets laid, he should thank you. I mean, come on. Another brilliant guy that you hung out with. Wow. You taught Tom Petty how to play guitar. You mean he took guitar lessons from you?
He took guitar lessons from me.
He paid you to teach him how to...
Exactly. Yeah.
No kidding. Was he a brilliant student? Did you say to yourself, geez, this is some kid?
No, he wasn't a great guitar player, but he was fantastic on stage. He had this charisma. He had this long, straight blonde hair, and he'd flip his hair and shake his hair.
Yeah, but did you ever say to yourself, here you were, I guess you're older than him, that you were his guitar teacher.
Yeah, a couple of years.
Did you ever say to yourself, gee, maybe I ought to hook up with this kid and start a band with him?
No, I had my own band. I was working with Stills. He was a couple of years younger than me, so, you know, he was still a skinny, kind of buck teeth, scraggly hair.
Wow.
Well, now that I think about it, he still looks like that.
I was going to say, you're describing him now.
I mean, how much did you charge Tom Petty for a guitar
I think
lesson?
it was $3 an hour.
$3 an hour.
But I didn't. I was working.
I was going to say, what do you charge today? I mean, inflation.
I was working at this music store, and I didn't really get paid cash. I got paid credit on this store account, and I would save up my money so I could buy strings or chords or a guitar or something like that.
Did you ever imagine that you would be something bigger than a guitar teacher? I mean, it's such a lucky business, right?
Oh, my Lord. Yeah, it is.
I mean, it's crazy.
I've been so blessed to be able to come from such humble means where I grew up on a little dirt road in the Palmetto fields of North Florida.
Imagine if you said to Tom Petty when you would teach him, you said, listen, schmuck, I'm not going to charge you. You just give me 1% of your career if you ever take off.
I should send him that. Say, you know, I'm entitled to a percentage of what you make because I started you off.
How many years did you teach him?
Well, I was there for about a year and a half or 2 years in town before I left.
No kidding.
Yeah, once Bernie left, I put together another band and actually moved to New York and worked here in New York, lived down on Horatio Street when it was actually the meatpacking district before it was so cool.
Did you have credentials as a guitar teacher? In other words, were you're able to read music and you're able
I taught myself.
You taught yourself all that?
I exchanged lessons in this other school of music. This guy named Paul Hillis had gone to the Berklee College of Music and came back to Gainesville and opened this little music school. And so he taught me to read, taught me music theory, composition, and that sort of stuff. So every hour that I would teach his guitar students, he would teach me music and theory. So it was because I had no money. I couldn't pay for anything.
Of course not. You were hanging out with Stills, and you were hanging out with these guys, Allman Brothers, all these guys.
Yeah.
And yet the Eagles are the ones that figure out, let's put this guy in our band.
Sure.
I mean, this is the guy.
Yeah.
And they figured that out. Why? What had you done that was so remarkable to them that said, man, this is the guy that can make us go to the next level?
Well, every time they would be at rehearsal out in L.A. when I was in town, if I wasn't out on the road working with somebody, I would go in and just hang out at their rehearsals, sit in and jam with them and play with them. And
so you helped them write music?
No, I didn't help them write music then. We would just jam. Just jam. Kick around and have a good time and kind of get off.
This guy's got the right vibe for us.
Yeah, and we were exciting, and, you know, it was just fun.
And they offer you a full partnership in the Eagles.
That's
correct. In other words, you were a full partner. When I say that, some bands, let's say, have one or two guys who write the songs and stuff, and then they have members who don't get a full partnership. They get paid well, but they're employees.
Correct.
But you were a full working partner.
Yeah.
Like you signed a contract with them. And
that's
you say,
right.
Look, I'm a full-fledged member. If they hadn't made you a full-fledged member, would you have backed out and said, this is probably not for me?
Well, no. At the time I received the offer to come in and play on this session, I just went in to play with a bunch of friends of mine in the studio, and I played slide guitar on this song called Good Day in Hell.
Right.
And I got a call the next day asking me to join the band. And I, at the time, was actually being Stephen Stills with Crosby Nash. I was playing Stephen's parts, ironically enough, with that band. And my wife was pregnant with our first kid. And
so you were a married man with a pregnant wife, and things were about to really change in your life. You're about to be a member of the Eagles.
Yeah.
Did you go berserk when you became an Eagle? Did you cheat on your wife? Did you have multiple sex partners? Did you constantly bang?
They gave him those with the contract.
Yeah, that all came with the territory. You know? Yes.
Really? Yeah.
Unfortunately, yeah. You know, I was raised, like I said, in very humble means in the South. I was dragged into church, into Sunday school from the time I was old enough to remember with my mother, and had a really religious upbringing. And then when I joined the Eagles, I was drugged into sin and all sorts of promiscuity. My whole life and everything changed.
Did you become a drug addict?
I wasn't addicted to drugs.
Right.
I did more than my fair share.
What was your thing? Coke?
Coke, yeah, absolutely.
No heroin?
Really?
No, I never did heroin.
No, just
I didn't
Coke
like
and
pot a whole
No,
lot.
just
No,
Coke.
Just Coke, and
Coke
I drink a
was-
little Remy Martin to take the edge off, But other than that, it
The
was.
band was fueled by Coke back then,
Yeah,
right?
everybody was. Yeah, doctors, lawyers, musicians.
Everybody was high.
Yeah,
all the time.
Yeah.
In fact, you even say in your new book that you hung out with Keith Richards a lot, and you found him. You thought he was dead in a room, right? But then it turned out you saw him on stage that night and he was alive. But you
I was going to say, please tell me he really doesn't take drugs. That's an act.
You literally thought he was dead, right?
Well, yeah. All I saw was a foot sticking out of his bathroom
Wow.
in his bedroom there, and I this kind of pale gray glow about him, and I went, oh no, I hope I haven't been the one that discovered him.
Yeah, you don't want to go down.
Yeah.
What were the circumstances? A party or something, or pre-show?
It was after show, post show, yeah, and we were in Kansas City. As a matter of fact, we weren't playing with them or opening for them or anything. We just happened to be. They were playing one night in Kansas City Stadium, in the Chiefs Stadium, and then we were playing some other gig, and we wound up being on the same hotel where they had the top floor with all their gorillas as security, and we had our next floor down with our guys. And our road manager, Richard Fernandez, used to know and be friends with their road manager at the time. Said, hey, you want to go up and meet these guys? And I went, of course. Are you kidding me?
Rolling Stones.
You bet. I mean, to me, that was a huge honor. This was like, 75, I guess 76, something like that. And so we went up, and we went walking down this hallway, and the doors to the presidential suite were open at the end of the hallway, and this music was just blaring out of it. Keith used to carry this roll-around studio that had like an old reel tape recorder and an amp and a bunch of cassettes and stuff, and J.B. Lansing monitors in it. So it was just pumping coming out of his thing. And this guitar was laying down on the floor, this electric guitar just going, it was like, just playing itself. And we walked in and went, that's kind of odd. And we started walking around with the road manager going, Keith, where are you? And we walked in the bedroom, and I turned the corner, and there was his foot sticking out of the bathroom, and we were promptly kind of whisked away.